Okay. Am I live yet? I can't tell anymore. I've hit go live like 5 times. I don't know. Oh, hang on. I think I'm live. Can I see a chat? Is that a thing I can do? I don't know how to do any of this. Man. Welcome to the greatest live stream of all time. I don't know. I would have called it that, but I guess that's misleading. Against YouTube policy. I think I'm live. Okay. Yeah, okay, there it is. Yes, awesome. Alright, now I got chat. There we go. There we go. I think we're working. Yes, okay. Dope. Welcome. Welcome to the greatest live stream of all time. I've introed this, I think, 5 times now. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like a little kid. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna need. I gotta go to the bathroom first. Gotta make sure I poop. Can't poop on live stream. So I got that. I got little snacks. I got an applesauce squeezer here. I got some goldfish to complete the kid aesthetic. Welcome. Welcome to the greatest live stream of all time. We're making a social network where you can't meet anyone, because right now I'm just in a mood to make things that don't have a real purpose. I think, yeah, hello, we're live. Cool. Awesome. Let's see. What are we making? We're making a social network. We can't meet anyone. Let me show you what we're working with. Let me see. Oh, can I get a chat pop up here? 1 second. Let me get that chat going. If this doesn't work out, I guess I can just private this after the fact. I think that's a thing you can do. So I'll just do that. If this ends up being real bad. In case you guys haven't noticed, most of my videos heavily edited for this purpose. I don't really know what I'm doing. It says that pop-out chat doesn't exist, though. Man. Maybe we just won't have a chat. Or wait, maybe, hang on. Maybe if I do it like this. And hit OK. Man, maybe it just doesn't work. Alright, I'll turn off the chat for now. Anyways, this is the social network called Dear Stranger, where you can write and receive anonymous letters from strangers. Sorry about that. There we go. So let's hit a little, let's get some love, alright? So this is what it'll look like. We got a little letter here. There's a trending section that holds letters that are trending. Fresh is just straight off the press. What's the hottest, freshest letter? This is just the most recent thing posted. Then all pulls from the entirety of all the letters in the cloud that holds them. Apparently that's broken though, because I can't shuffle through them. Dope. Oh no, it is working. It's just laggy. We'll see how this goes. There's probably going to be so many issues. Anyways, you can flag them. That's about all I got right now. It's also the last day, so we'll see how far I get. You can sign up, and you can track how many thanks your letters receive, and so on and so forth. But as you will see, you don't know who posts any of these. It's completely anonymous. So you can receive like likes on your posts and whatnot, but no one knows who you are. So there's this anonymity that creates it so it's like you're not posting in order to grow, you're just posting in order to share with people is the goal. Because the original intent of this whole thing was to just share positive encouragement, and so the anonymity came with that, because it's like, I don't want you posting like sweetheart things just because you want clout. So it's just, but I just expanded it to just be whatever. I feel like that's more future-proof than just being like, send encouraging words. I don't know. We'll see. I also see this as kind of a social experiment. We'll see what gets posted, what doesn't get posted. So, how am I doing this? I'm using the Google, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it a library? I think it's a framework. Flutter. It's their new kind of their competitor to React Native. For those who are unacquainted, React Native is a or I guess that's a library that allows you to write apps in JavaScript as like a web app that then can be the React Native library converts it to actual native code to run on smartphones. Flutter does a similar thing, except it's based in Dart. It's kind of like its own thing, is why I think it's a framework, where React Native is like a library you add onto your web app. Anyways, Flutter, thought it was super cool, wanted to try and make something with it, because it is very front-end heavy in that everything you do is based in widgets, and it's just kind of a very visual thing, is why I wanted to just see what I could knock out in a week. And this is what I've got so far. It's overall pretty good. Additionally, with this, I decided to tie it in with Google's Firebase because they're both kind of heavily connected since they're both in the Google ecosystem. And this is what I'm doing to host all those messages and whatnot. So there's a Firestore, which is essentially kind of like a cloud-esque thing. It's basically a non-SQL database, for those aware of that. I've not really worked with non-SQL databases before, and I have some thoughts after doing it with this. It's very limiting, but at the same time it's very fast, which has been interesting to work with. The way it's limiting is that you can't do complex queries. Let me just show you kind of some of the logic here of what we're working with. The way the whole thing works is essentially you write a letter here, right? It's just a text field. There's a 500 character limit, whatnot. Anyways, you hit that send button, the send button. I then post that in the cloud here. Yeah, let's just pull up one of these. It stores the message contents. It gives it a message ID that's just a unique identifier I generate. A random value, we'll get to that. And then some stuff like the timestamp, the thank count currently that other people can increment. One thing that I do really like about Firestore is that atomic actions are very easy to do. I can just use, I think it's just like a function, it's just field value increment, and it essentially ensures that I get atomicity, if that's the word, on that action, so that if I upvote it, it makes sure that nobody else overlaps it. You understand. Anyways, it's kind of like if you were to complete a transaction with a bank or whatever. You want to make sure it goes through on one end and on the other as well. You don't want it only going through on one end and not on the other, and then you get duplicate transactions. You understand. It's like that. It's super easy with Firestore, super cool. I have a trending Boolean. I'll also get to that. There's some weird values like the random and the trending that I had to implement in order to get working with the query system, because like I said, it's super fast, but it's super limiting in how you can query it. And then I have the user ID, which is the ID of the user who posted it. So like I said, true anonymity, there's no real way to identify who posts stuff. I mean, you could take the user ID and you can link it up with the user's database here and figure out who's who. Yeah, I'm using a Hotmail to test stuff. Anyways, let's look at some of this querying, because this is where I don't like Firestore and Flutter, and I kind of am considering switching to something like AWS, is with the queries, you can only add a one inequality in your query per query. At least I believe so, or at least on only one field. So like what I had originally thought of doing for like the fresh section is it would just be look through everything. Do I still have some of that code? I do. Yeah, I was basically like grab a timestamp from the date 7 days ago to like the exact, and then query essentially all of the messages that fall within date.now to that date from 7 days ago. So that would be an inequality. But then, if I want to then also get a random thing, I can't just say, like, grab me a random thing. I have to search for something. So I have to put in that random value, and then I essentially generate a random value on the client side and say, find me the message that's essentially closest to this random value, by saying if it's greater, like, find me the next message that has a value greater than or equal to this, and if it doesn't find anything, go to the one lesser than. That's how I search for things randomly. But if I want to do that, that's two different inequalities, and I can't do that in Firebase, which is honestly pretty dumb. But also, because they limit you in that way, you get super fast lookups because they're able to index stuff, and so they can immediately pull it like that. They don't have to, like, actually, like, it's still querying, but it's more optimal. It's interesting, but also super frustrating because I didn't know that off the bat until just yesterday. Anyway, so what I am doing to get around that is I essentially go through my messages, I order by the timestamp, so grab me everything in most recent time posted order, and list them out. Because one more thing, the way you get charged on Firestore is essentially how many reads you perform on your database. So if you pull one file or whatever, that's one read. You get 50,000 free reads a day, 100,000 reads after that. Like, every 100,000 reads after that is, I believe, is 6 cents or whatever, and that incurs every day. Anyways, that adds up very quickly. If you're doing, like, just one of these, here, we can actually figure this out. Let's go to our little hacker zone and go to the network, and see how many calls we incur when we say receive letter. Look at how many polls we did from the database there. I'm not sure entirely. Let's see. It looks like, because it's essentially grabbing the letter. I'm also then possibly, let's see how many it does for leaving a thank. Yeah, there's 3, because I need to update the user who posted it, because I need to update their, like, thank count. I need to update the letters thank count. I need to, what else do I need to update? I don't know. Maybe there's something unoptimal there. That's something to think about. But anyways, you see there's not just one lookup on this, just pulling this one thing. There's, like, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's, like, 8 different things going on with just this one letter. So, like, you can add these up really quickly. So what I want to do is I don't want to just pull all of the most recent things and then just loop through them and whatever. Because then I'm pulling, what, like 100 documents per, like, use? Like, I just gotta try and make it as optimal as possible. So go to the messages. If we've not looked in fresh yet, get me just the most recent message. That's it. Save that message ID. So for the next time, I go, okay, what was the last message ID we had? All right. Go to messages, order by timestamp, start the query at that message, and then get me the one after that. And that way I'm only pulling one at a time. But because of that, I have to, like, save all, like, I have to keep track of, like, what document you looked at last, and I have to do that for both fresh and trending, which is annoying. From a, like, app logic sort of standpoint. With most of, like, web apps and stuff, most of the back end, most of this, like, logic stuff is being handled in the cloud. Like, on the client side, most of the stuff is pretty stateless. I don't have to remember a whole lot. I'm not saving a whole lot. There's no local database. But by having to do this, it's super annoying to now have to manage my, like, state like this. There's probably a better way, but according to Stack Overflow, the head engineer at Firebase made a response because somebody else was looking for how to do just random file queries, essentially, and he gave this same kind of answer where he was like, you have to create a random value and then look for stuff based on that random value. Like, there's no way to just query, but it's just also how they do it, so it's fast. So I don't know, there's trade-offs. I don't know how I feel about it. Meh. I guess I should look at the live stream. Are we still even live? We are. Hey Jack, where's it running from? It is, well, it's a web app. So it's essentially being hosted, it's going to be hosted through Firebase just because I'm feeling lazy. And I'm just already in the Google ecosystem with this whole thing. Realistically, if I were to actually do this, I would probably host it on AWS. But anyways, it's just going to be a website, essentially. And all of the backend is also running through Firebase and all that. So it'll just be at a web address that I'm not giving out yet. It's not quite done, but when it is done, it will be available. It'll also hopefully have a mobile version, because like I said, it's being built with Flutter, which I do overall very much like. I don't really have many complaints about it. It's similar to if you've ever worked with Android and how they do everything. It's very state heavy, where it's just you handle events, essentially. But yeah, since it's being built with Flutter, it'll be a web app, so it can run just in a web browser, but it'll also be able to be exported to Android, essentially. I think I could even pull it up in an emulator, but I had notes, because I was like, I'm going to just start rambling. Which is why I don't do anything live, and most of my videos are heavily edited. Flutter, Firebase, why not? Firebase is okay. Definitely not the most cost efficient. Comparing it to something like AWS, Amazon's basically version of this, it's definitely more cost effective. It's just that with Flutter, it'd be more to get up and running. As Flutter has like, it's possible. You could create essentially a link into AWS services, but it's not as simple as with Firebase, where I think it was just like one plugin and I could just instantly call everything, I believe. Let me see. Where's my imports? Yeah, like it's just Cloud Firestore package. Super simple, super dope. Let me see if I can get that chat working yet. No? Still doesn't exist? Apparently not. Interesting. YouTube lies, guys. Yeah. What else is on my notes? What's it look like right now? What to still work on? So yeah, this is essentially what it is right now. Most of the functionality is there. You can pull up letters. I want to add some more stylized looks to it. Also, this background freezes for whatever reason after, like, if I leave it in the background for a little too long. I'll have to look into that. It might just be a Flutter issue where the widgets don't resume or something on, like, app resume. Anyways, it's just been a fun little random thing to throw together. Theoretically, though, because I had 3 goals. I don't know where the paper went. 3 goals. I was like, I want to make it so it's completely anonymous. There's no usernames. Second goal, I want it to be kind of gamified, like other social media. Keep it fun, keep it fresh, keep it addictive. So if I log in with that Hotmail I made here, I guess I could also just make a fake email. It doesn't really matter. I'm not asking you to like verify anything, but everything works. Pulls up your account. I need to fix this a little bit. This page is the big thing I need to fix today. We've got the letters you've sent, thanks received, letters you've read, and the thanks you've given. And those are kind of the 4 main stats I'm going on. One thing I had in mind, one thought I had was like, what if there was like a leaderboard and you could see where you were at? So like your account had essentially like number with it, so it's like your placement on the leaderboard, like you're the number 89th contributor or whatever. I don't know. The one thing with Firestore though is with that, I was like, that would just be more reads, writes, and how am I gonna set it up where I'm like updating the leaderboard live? I'd have to make a whole other service to do that. I don't know. Anyways, Last goal was to spread good. So, like I said, the original intent was to make it so you spread encouraging messages and whatnot. That's just kind of, sort of, it's still there. It's still anonymous, and you can, with the intent of, like, hopefully you will say things for good, being that it's anonymous, and you're not just doing it for clout, you know? Like, I think that's the biggest thing, is it's hiding this idea of, like, you'll gain a following for what you're doing. But you still get the recognition of getting thanks, so it makes it kind of fun. But yeah, see, that page is glitchy. I don't know why. I gotta look into that. I think, actually, we'll probably I'll fix that. That's what we'll do on stream. I was trying to figure out what I'm gonna work on, because I was like, I should do some coding. Anyways, spread good, last goal. I had the idea of maybe monetizing it in some way. I don't like the idea of ads, but I'm leaning towards doing ads now. Actually, if we pull up the Bible for the project here, I always make a Bible document for everything I'm working on. Essentially, it kind of just, I have like a plan of what I want to do. Added a timestamp to letters, be able to sort your letters by hot. Accounts, conceit whole thanks, blah, 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 blah. Added an info version. I didn't want to add like info. I wanted to originally, but I was like, that kind of goes against the whole purpose of being like anonymous, not for clout. Your letters receive flares based on your account. That's still an idea I like. Where it's like, depending on how much of a contributor you are, how good you are, you might get like a badge or whatever. But I don't know. It is something I'm just not totally sure how I would want to go about doing. Stuff I still need to do, because I added flagging to messages yesterday. I need to add don't auto-delete after they get flagged, but it just hides it for moderation later on. I need to add user stats. One other thing with Firebase. You might have noticed in my messages collection here, I have a totally random thing that's just message count. And this keeps track of how many messages are in the database, because, like I said, with Firebase being so minimal in what they let you know, you can't actually just see how many are in there without pulling them all at a time. So, like, let's say there's 1,000 messages or whatever. To find out how many messages there are, I have to pull all 1,000 and do 1,000 reads, which is not ideal. So I'm just essentially, all I could find online is this is what people do, is they just make another document and they're like, these are the stats for this collection. So I need to do that for users. So every time there's a new user, I add to the user stats. Add site available in stats. I wanted to make it so I could turn off the site at any time. So I want to add like a site available Boolean to some stat document, so I could just disable it or enable the site if I want. Monetization. This is the one I've been trying to figure out, and I don't know. I know in the beginning of the video, because I've shot part of the video so far, I say I've got all week to figure it out. It's the end of the week and I haven't figured it out. I had the idea of like maybe there's some sort of subscription thing, like a Reddit Gold kind of thing, where it's like 99 cents every month. You get like a badge maybe. But the thing is, I like the idea of badges putting you in trending automatically, but I don't want you to be able to give badges to yourself. And also, I was like, with a membership, it gets kind of screwy on the app stores, at least with iOS, which I'm not going on iOS to start, so maybe it doesn't matter. But with iOS, if you're going to have a subscription or any sort of thing where you're charging your users, you have to go through Apple. They require it. If there's like, so that's why with like Netflix or Spotify, or I guess Spotify and Tinder kind of got around it. But like, with any app like a Netflix or whatnot, if you have a subscription, you have to be able to buy it through the App Store, which is super dumb, but it's because they get a 30% cut, and so they require it, which is dumb. Google doesn't require it. Shout out Google, but they heavily want you to. And also, it is kind of annoying from a user's perspective. It's if you're like in the app and it's like, oh, I want to get the subscription, but I can't pay with my Google Play credits or whatever, or my iOS credits or whatnot. Anyways, so I'm just going to hold off on the subscription idea. I was originally going to do it. I've been looking into Stripe, which is a service a lot of startups use. I think, yeah, even Shopify use it. So like literally every startup, if they use Shopify, they probably use Stripe. I guess even Amazon. Interesting. Anyway, Stripe is essentially just a service that allows startups to charge subscriptions or not subscriptions. I think it's just charging, like a charging system, and they handle the infrastructure of that. Super cool. Problem with it for me though is they take a 30 cents cut, which isn't that much. Super chill. But if I'm gonna do a 99-cent subscription, then meh. So I thought maybe I could do that, but then there's also like a yearly thing where it's like $10 instead of 12, and then the 30 cents charge isn't that bad. I don't know. I think these are just my thoughts. We'll come back to that maybe in the future. For now, I'm thinking maybe, I think what I'll do is I'll just put ads on the mobile versions, because I can't put them on the web version. Google AdSense doesn't allow ads on, like a social network, or like anything that has like user-generated content they're kind of iffy about, which makes sense, because they're like, what if somebody says something bad? So, more stylized look and animations, release web Android build by the end of the week, optimize lookups and modifications. That's what we got going on. Excuse you. Did I burp? That's what it was. I burped a couple times. I think scoreboard's a great idea. Yeah, I think it would be a great idea. I do like that. I think it's fun. I think it's gamey. I'm just not sure I want to do it quite yet. I think if I were to do it, I wouldn't want to use Firestore for it. Like, I would probably want to set up a completely different database service. It's just that's a whole other thing. And then having to link up with it. Like, I probably want to do it with a traditional SQL database. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, Firestore, pretty cool. And if you're looking for something that is like a free database, that's pretty, honestly, very simple to set up. Firebase, definitely look into it. Can I like look at the pricing on stuff? I don't know where it is. Anyways, they provide a lot of cool stuff compared to like AWS. Where AWS like has a free version, but it's only for a year, which for a lot of people that's fine. You'll probably get shut down before the end of the year. I think the thing with this is that it probably will be dead before the end of the year, so wouldn't have mattered. But Firebase, in my experience, is a lot easier to set up with any project if you're looking for like a database, hosting, cloud services. I guess they have even machine learning and processing, which is super cool. I'm not sure how free those are. I haven't looked into them. But I think that's everything I wanted to cover. Little snack time. Let's get into it. What did I say I was going to do? We'll figure it out. I mainly wanted to live stream because then I was like, I need to film bits for the video, but if I just live stream, I can just cut up live stream bits, right? People watch highlights. I've been watching the Kenny Beats live stream highlights. Those are great. What was I just thinking about? Man, Goldfish really got me. I guess we can just do this. Don't auto-delete after flags behind it. Which the way I'm doing that, so I guess I'll just talk through some of what I'm doing. Here we go. Increment message flags. I just have a service here, the Firestore service, that handles all my Firestore calls for me. And it's just kind of used as like almost like a, what's it called? Singleton, where there's just kind of an instance of it all over the app, which the way I'm doing it is not great. Is it? Where did I put it? Is it in my main? Where do I call it? Oh, interesting. I don't know where I call it. Essentially, I'm just making a final version of the Firestore service, which I've been told never to do, but I'm not in school anymore. You can't stop me. And I'm like, why is that so bad? That's mean. I'm gonna eat some applesauce. Not a goldfish brain. Can I get the chat to work? No, it doesn't work. Now I watched a YouTube video and he seems so confident. He's like, and as soon as you go live, the chat will go live. It hasn't gone live, man. I'm kind of mad about it. Message flags. Like I said, with Flutter, with most app development, it's very, man, did I lose it? Message flags. With most app development, it's very event-based, so essentially, I create the UI. The UI has an onPressed function. I then call whatever functions I want. So when I have that flag button up there, I create an alert dialog that has a button that has a confirm, and when you hit the confirm button, I increment message flags, which is an asynchronous function, so it runs irregardless of the other processing. Was it the same one I sent in the Discord? So when first, was what the same one I sent in the Discord? It's the first thing I saw from a Google search, so wouldn't be surprised. Not sure. Oh, the video. It totally is. It's totally the video. That's so funny. Yeah, that is totally the same video. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. He was like, yeah, just do a pop-out chat, add your URL, and it'll work. Or here, wait. I think I might have figured it out. There we are. I had to refresh the cache. Oh, wow, why is that small? Oh, boy. Can I make that way bigger? Because this is not gonna... There we go. That's basically it. You know what? I know what we're gonna do. Come on, bud. Let's go like this, maybe. Sorry that this is how we do this. It doesn't matter. I'll just delete this live stream afterwards. Maybe make it less long, though. Alright. Oh, I just made it 0. There we go. 600. It's a little better. There we go. That's nice. Look at that. Can I crop that? Wow, I'm having so much fun with this. Oh, you can. OBS. You've outdone yourself. Wow. Okay. Dope. I don't think I can get rid of that until we get enough messages, but there we go. Increment message flags. So synchronous function returns a future, which is just essentially saying something's going to come back. I don't know what, because it hasn't happened yet. Which I've never had something like that. I think that's a super cool feature within Dart. Saying that now, for like hours yesterday, I hated it. Because clearly I know what it's going to return, but with it not knowing, I got very frustrated because it couldn't figure it out. Anyways, by saying it's an asynchronous function, I can basically say await for this to return. So right here's my query. I say go get my database instance, go to the collection called messages, get the document, the current message ID that you have saved in your app state. Like I said, when I pull everything down, I have to save stuff in my local state. Which if you want to see the worst code I've ever written, this is my logic model, which essentially is just my app state. I save all the things you need to remember in here. Because like I said, with most app development, it's pretty stateless. Most stuff's pretty like front-end based, so it's just kind of like, here's your UI, That's it. So I have basically just another singleton here that just remembers everything you need to know at any time, including the current message ID that it needs to grab to display. Back to Firestore service. Then I grab that document, it returns, gets there. I update the data, go to the flags, field value, increment. Like I said, that's that atomic feature of Firestore that's super cool, where I can just say, hey, this is a field value I want to increment by 1, and it handles all the atomic features of doing that, which I haven't had with an SQL database. Maybe there is better versions than what I've worked with, but or maybe I'm just forgetting wrong. I don't know. Anyways, here we are, the bug. Current message flags, I have a final int here that's just declared. It's essentially just a global int in this class that's the minimum flags for delete, and then I just delete it, and that's it. Like I said, Firebase, super easy, super cool part of it. But we don't want to do that now. So what I'm thinking to get around this is, oopsies. Let's go back to Firebase. I'm thinking we add a new field to all our messages that are, if they are flagged as visible, then we will load them. If they are, if the visible field is flagged as false, don't pull that. Because like I said, trick with Firebase, you can't have multiple inequalities. You can have multiple equalities. I don't know why that is. I've been wanting to look into, at least I believe we can. Yeah, see, like right here with trending, I can order by timestamp, and I can say where is equal to trending. I believe I can also now say also where visible is equal to true. So if the visible field is true, then grab it. If not, we'll skip it, and so on and so forth. And so I'll just want to do that for all of my queries here. Also, something I realized as I was falling asleep, this is a very inefficient switch statement that I'm going to now fix. Because with the random values, oops, where are we? Here we are. Okay. With the random values, I need to check if random value is greater than or equal to, in order to essentially go like, okay, here's the random value I generated, find me one that's in this direction, find me the next letter, right? But what if there isn't one in the next letter? Maybe it's like I generate one that's generate a random value that's above any other random value in the database. I need to flip it around, so I have an auxiliary. I originally had it as like a recursive function that was like, I have the get message text, and then I have a get message text auxiliary function that's looking in the other direction. But last night I kind of switched up my whole Firestore stuff to optimize a little bit, and so now I just have an auxiliary boolean. So I, for some reason, put the entire thing in if else, if it's auxiliary or not, but the only function that's really needing to do this is if we're doing from all letters, so I'm just going to put that in there. And then, oops, let's put that there. We'll move this to, if it is, then we're going to use is less than. That should be fine. We'll format. Unless I have an error. Oh yeah, we were doing this. Get back to that. Make sure that formatted alright down there. I like the formatting in VS Code, but I hate how it formats these queries like this sometimes. Or like, not necessarily these queries, but like the way it formats some of the Flutter code. Let me find one that's going to be gross. Letter view. Like, look at that. Look at. One thing about Flutter I don't like is, since it's all widgets, you're essentially getting insane nesting. So like, I have a padding widget that gives me padding around something, and then inside that padding widget I have a child that's the clip rect widget, and then inside that I have a child that's the material button widget. And it's just this insane stack of everything, which I hated it first. I kind of like it now. But like the formatting on this is like, ugh. And I get that it's like that in order to keep the cutoff not too far in. But also, since I'm not somebody that's working on a command line interface, I don't really care if it goes that far right. I don't know. People are a stickler for how far right stuff should go. One thing that I do like about at least the Flutter plugin for VS Code, I'm sorry, I'm just talking random things, is that since they are aware there's so much nesting going on, they like tell you, hey, this is the closing bracket for the text widget. This is the closing bracket for the container widget, flexible widget, the widget list, and the column widget. Anyways. That's thoughts on Flutter. Where is my thing? Let's get something done. Increment message flags. There it is. So what we'll do here is we'll just say if what did I call it? Visibility? Yeah, visible. Oops. Make sure we add that down here. And we'll have to see if this works. I think, if I remember right from yesterday, I can just do an inequality and an equality check. But as if I wanted to do two inequalities, then it's not. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong about that, and maybe Firestore is bad. Not me. But we will see. Update data visible to false. Yeah, so like once we pass the minimum for flags, which I think for now is 3 or 4. Once you get flagged 4 times, it gets flagged as invisible. So let's see if anything works still. It doesn't. What broke? This is fun. Let's show this off. Because this is not an error. But, like I said, Firebase kind of picky about how you query stuff. So, if you're having a complex or composite stuff, yeah, let me start over. If you're doing some sort of complex query, they have this indexing system is how they return stuff so quickly. So you have to create a special indexing system for complex queries. So it generated the composite index that I'm going to need for that query that I'm doing. I figured out this yesterday because I had those more complex ones before. So it's going, okay, we need to generate indexes for messages for the entire collection. Trending is ascending, visibility is ascending, timestamp is descending, and timestamp descending, just in contrast to the ascending, is because we want the most recent at the top, right? And the oldest or the largest values at the bottom. So the way time's counted is it's getting bigger the more recent it is, right? If you think about time as just ticks, like every like CPU process tick is a tick in time, then time is just a number, like one integer that's constantly getting bigger. And so timestamp is just a formatted version of ticks. So it's going to be in descending order is most recent to oldest. And that's just going to generate a bunch of indexes in that collection so that it can easily do that query in the future. I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't think it took very long yesterday. There's also not a whole lot of data in there. I think this is kind of cool, honestly. Throw away my applesauce. Let's see. What happens if I go to like fresh? Okay. So I think we're back in business then. Unless this is returning. Is this wanting me to generate the same query, or is this a new one? Let's go check that out. Also, sorry there's no music. I thought about doing music on the stream, but I don't know copyright rules on streams. And I don't know if I am going to use this for a video, I don't want to have music in it if I want the audio, you know. Also, let's take a second while this is doing that. You want to see my audio setup? This is the audio setup. It's a duct-taped microphone to a mini tripod. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know. I don't have like a mic stand or anything. So I don't know what to do about that. I also don't know why I'm like, I gotta look good for the live stream. Before this, I was just wearing like 3-day-old pajamas. So that's the daily update. Are we still live? I should check that. I guess I don't ever. Yeah, look at that. Excellent connection. I also don't know how laggy this is. I don't know how far behind it is. How long is this going to take to build, man? Don't laugh if it works. That's true. That's very true. Oh, I don't want to create another. Yeah, it looks like it's sounding fine. I don't know. Cause the best part is this an XLR mic? So I've got this long, let's see if I can figure this out. This is like aiming one of those like cameras that they use in like a scientific medical thing where they like stick it in the body. Anyways, there's an XLR cable going from the mic all the way down. Let's go into the abyss here. And I've got an H4n down here that's serving as the audio interface that's then plugged into the many USB ports on the front of my tower. I don't know if that works at all. I can't tell. The camera's laggy for some reason too. I don't know why that is. We'll figure this out. We'll figure it out together, I guess. This is round one. Like I said, I'll just delete this if it turned out real bad. Man, these did not take that long yesterday. I wish these didn't take so long. I guess we can just start working on something else that's not immediately needing anything. Add user stats. That's kind of boring. Site available. Mobile ads. None of those sound really fun, though. I guess what we could look into is... I'm not that about how some of the stuff looks. Because like I said, I don't like how it just pops in. Oops. Oh, because the queries are broken now, it's not going to load. I wish it faded like how I have the rest of the stuff fading right now. Why am I like faded out? I don't know. Anyways, we can look into that, I suppose. Flutter. I'm thinking animated switcher is the widget I'm using to switch between, there we go. Animated switcher is the widget I'm using to switch between app states. What I mean by that is just like I have the account state, and then I have like my letter view state. Are they working it? No. Send letter. These are all different states, and that's why it's fading like that. But the thing with what's happening? Are we good? Where are my indexes at? Oh, they're good. Why are you not working? Let's refresh. What error am I getting? Maybe it just needs to clear. some of the cache. I don't know. Are we broken now? Wait, where's the... Here, let's do a hot reload. I'm gonna love if I broke this, just for this. Sorry I'm not doing a whole lot of programming. I thought it'd be better for me to go over tech and what I'm using, because I know I don't do that enough in videos. So I figured if I do it now, I can just cut up bits from the stream. Why am I... There we go. Why is this not loading? See, I don't think I had any other notes to go over. Just work on bits. No response. Are we getting some sort of console output? Log me in auto. That's nice, but it's not polling anything. Why is that? Did I put in a wrong query? Oh, you know what it is. Oh, you know what it is. None of these are tagged as visible. 100%. Yeah, because I just made it. So let's do that now. Not visibile. Visible. Is that how I spelled it? And then it's going to be a bool. Let me copy that. And they're all going to be visible. And yes, I could do this programmatically, but if I'm going to do it on creation, yeah, I think if I do this, this should fix it. Oops. I could do this programmatically where I just update them now, but I just want to see if this is the reason here. I guess, where's the, is this the one that I have in trending for testing? Let me add that. There we go. Yeah. I'm like, the one reason I don't like live streaming is because it stresses me out, because I'm like, I'm gonna make mistakes, 100%. I make a million more mistakes when I'm not live. Yeah, okay. Let me make sure now to remember that message now has a new value, which is bool. It's going to be visible. And so this way, when we create messages, I make sure that they're all set to visible. And I should, real quick, add a catch to, if you're pulling something and it doesn't have a visible field, add a visible field to it. Just in case, for testing at least. What I'm doing here is, this is my, I have a class here that represents what a message will look like in the database, and this is what I use to convert from the Firestore return, which is essentially like a map, I guess, yeah, a map of strings to what are dynamics or unknowns. In this case, we got the message ID, which is going to be a string, thing count, whatnot. It's all going to be dynamic stuff that's different types. So down here, we're going to add visible. And right here, these two functions are to a map. So I'm taking this if I instantiate a message and I populate it with this stuff using this constructor, I'm going to use a toMap function to convert it to a map that I could pass to my Firestore service that then sends it to the cloud, sends this map to a cloud, and then puts it in the collection. It maps perfectly, like we saw for how they were all in there. And you can kind of actually see, if I go back there in a second. Sorry. You can see this one has all of the fields, but there was a couple that have been made as I've been coming up with the schema. If that's what they're referred to in a non-SQL database, I'm not sure. Like in an SQL database, it's referred to as a schema, how you have your tables set up. But in here, as you can see, this one was kind of like early on where I was like, we have the message ID, we have the random value, we have the thing count, we have the message contents, but there's no like user ID, there's no any of these other like identifiers. Which I think is interesting that you're able to do that with non-SQL databases, is they're not as strict on what it takes to be put in the schema. I think you can implement that yourself, but by default there isn't that sort of restriction. I know in an SQL database there is that restriction on like, oh, this can't be in the table, it doesn't have this value, doesn't have the keys. But like some of those have nowhere near enough. Why are you upset? Yes. Now in our letter form here, when I'm instantiating the new message, oops, did I just type the right thing? Where am I? Here we go. I'm going to set visibility to true. Yep. And that should, yeah, and it's performing a hot restart. So now all the messages are created correctly, but we want to make sure when we are reading them, grabbing them from Firestore, that they have that visible flag if we're going to check it. Not sure. Not sure if there is a way to do that, at least in the where it's going to get caught, you know? Because I have my get database query function that's called by my get message text function, and this just comes up with the query based on what state of querying we're in. So I have 3 different states. I have the trending, the fresh, and the all query states. And so if we're in the trending query state, we're doing this query. If we're in the fresh query state, and I kind of went over those before, how I'm doing those. But by doing that, we're grabbing the message Oh, you know what? Also, we're not checking visibility in here. Let me do that. So it's like we're querying for visibility before we're able to actually read the message, and I'm not sure if I can then update stuff here based on that, if that makes sense. Like I'm querying before I actually update or grab any data. So maybe I should just do it manually here, but it is being created now to include it, so it should never be a problem again. Is there a copy? No. Let's just grab visible and add it in here. Boolean. Cause there's what, 6 messages? It's not a big ask to just do it. This is why it's not public yet, is I want to make sure I have all this stuff worked out. Because with it being made in 1 week, I did not plan ahead with my like schema. I'm just gonna call it that. So like, here, I came up with like a rough idea of what I wanted like the schema to look like. This is also in the video. But like, let me see. I don't know if that's really gonna, yeah, no. It's essentially, I'm gonna have 2 collections. There's gonna be users, there's gonna be messages, which I have here. And collections are just kind of like a table, essentially. And then I guess you call them a document, are essentially like a row in an SQL database. And so I essentially was like, okay, messages are going to have the contents, they're going to have an ID, they're going to have a random value, thank count, a timestamp, a user ID, which is the key into the other collection, the user's collection, and then I'm going to have flags, and I guess now I'll need a visible identifier to determine if you're going to look at it or not. Actually, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it, let's test that flag. Just go fresh, so I get the same thing. Uh-oh. This query requires an index. Oh. Silly me. Because I just added that visibility check on this query, so we're going to have to add that composite index in here. There we go. Anyways, users are going to have an email, which they use to log in. One thing I am considering is, what if you don't have an email and I just give you an ID? Like, I think, what is it, 4chan or whatever? Bad example, but gives you just like identifier, you know? So it's not, there's actually no anything to identify you, truly. I saved the time you signed up at, a string for your user ID, which is generated and saved and is attached to all your messages you send. Thank count for how many thanks you've received on your letters, messages sent, messages you've read, and thanks you've given. And I'm saving those because I think it would be cool to have like a badges system. If like, let's say, like I saved the timestamp from when you signed up, so I'm like, what if it's like you have a 3-year-old badge and you have, you've sent this many thanks, you have like a platinum thank badge, and you've read this many letters, you're a great reader badge. I don't know. It was just an idea I had, and I think that could be cool. And I thought about maybe having it so those are displayed on your letters, but then it's like, then you're kind of being identified as somebody who has clout. So I'm not sure. Kind of goes against the whole original purpose. I don't know. So it might just be something for you. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever do any of these. This might just be a project that dies after this week. I'll just let it go live and see what happens. Man. Anyways, I think that we fixed the don't auto-delete. Great progress. How long has it been? It's almost 3. Probably won't be live for too much longer because I want to actually get things done, and I can't really do that when I'm live, and I feel like I have to talk through everything I'm doing and feel the pressure. Also, I've been drinking this water bottle, and I feel like I have to pee soon. And I have my apple squeezer and my goldfish. I gotta go bathroom. Man, what can we do really quick though? I feel like we haven't gotten much done. Add user stats, add site available and stats. I guess those aren't that hard. We can knock those both out right now. Because I can just theoretically grab the code I use, right? Maybe not. What am I thinking of? Because I have code that increments the message count. But the question is, where am I doing that? I don't remember. There it is. I'm gonna do that, but increment user count. We're gonna call it that here. Because it's gonna be pretty much the same code, except we're gonna go to the users collection. We're gonna call it, I'm gonna actually, because I'm gonna end up deleting all of the messages currently in there and reset all the stats, so I'm gonna rename these documents to be user stats, because I'm not sure, I might want to add more than just like total users, but we will have a count and it'll increment by 1, yeah, and that's the function. So I'll just throw that in the I have another service here which handles my sign up and sign in process, which for that is also being handled by Firebase. Another reason you should use Firebase, super cool. Let's see. I'm gonna throw it in the create right here. And I'm gonna go Firestore service. I'll just grab that. Or wait, that's what it's called, right? Oh, I haven't imported it. Let me grab that. Because I'm lazy, we're just gonna go grab it from here. Can't be bothered to actually type it out. There we go. Increment user count. We're gonna do that. Oh. Oof. Now here's an interesting thing with Google sign-in, because I've set it up where I have like a app ID with Google to handle sign-ins with Google, so you don't have to actually use your email and all that. With that though, it's just kind of a one function call, so it's just a sign in, and that handles both sign up and whatnot, because it's just signing you into your Google account. Like there's no actual authentication, because Google itself is the authentication. But because of that, how do I know if you're just signing up? And I don't know. Sign in with credential. Let's Google that actually. There's got to be like a return or an event catch on that. Google sign in, Flutter. That's the plugin I'm using. New user. I feel like the biggest thing about being a software engineer is just knowing how to Google for the issues you're having. If you could do that, you're fine. Why can't it? Like, I wish job interviews were like that. Like, not memorizing stuff. Like, come on. When have I needed to memorize the Dijkstra's algorithm? Let me tell you, there's been some close calls with some Googles. This is just like a tutorial. Medium. Come on. I guess let's just go to the actual package page. I wish the package pages had more documentation. That's something I don't like about Flutter. I guess it's not really a Flutter issue though. It's more of a issue with the plugin community. I don't know what you want to call it. It's just the community, I guess. Example? I don't know. Like, get contact. This is just all the different things. Yeah, because it's just one sign-in. But that's not really helpful to me. Oh, here we go. We got a repo. Maybe that's got some more. Or no, what? Wait a minute. This is just Flutter plugins. That's not helpful. Is this reviews? Wait, what? Oh, interesting. That's cool. I didn't know that was there. And this is made by the actual Flutter team. That's probably why I went to Flutter plugins. Man. What? There's got to be a way to catch that. If it's like a new user. So it wouldn't be through Google. I guess it would be through let's see auth result, because this is, excuse me, additional user info, the user. Let me see, maybe like Firebase user, new user, like that. There's gotta be like a flag. authenticated through Firebase. I create a Firebase user. No. I guess I could check essentially if oh, ooh, here's a kicker. And oh. Okay, instead of incrementing it here, so I call update user data, which essentially goes to my user collection, and I update the document with data, and so if there's nothing in there, it gets put in there. What if I can check if this reference like exists already. If it doesn't, then we're creating a new user. I like that. This is a document reference, so it's not a snapshot. I don't necessarily want a snapshot. I want there, the document. Oh, that's true. Is this a sync? It is. Cool. Let's do this. We'll put this there for now. And we'll create a document snapshot. Well, it's not going to be a snapshot, though. It'll be a document. What does this return? Oh, come on. VS Code. Do it, please. Pretty please. No, you're not going to give me that. What does it return? Oh, it's a document snapshot. Well, I guess I just didn't think it was that because that seems unnecessary, but I guess it is. And we'll await that, and we'll say if the snap exists, I believe is the, yep. All right. But if it doesn't exist, then we're incrementing the user count because we're adding it in. If the user, actually, let me see. Is there a way document reference exists? Is that a thing? What is this? Yeah, no, I don't necessarily need that. Yeah, I think this will just be the way I do it for now. If the user does not have a document, we are creating one. Alright, okay. And then in here, when you save this. Cool. Okay, let's do a refresh. I guess we can try that out. We can try and sign up. Was there another thing I was gonna do? Oh yeah, I was gonna add the visibility thing. That doesn't matter. Not the visibility thing, but the site visibility thing. So I can just turn it off if I want to. Might be better to do that off stream anyways, though. I don't want anybody else being able to figure it out. Let's see. I need to think of an email that is trash. Sign out here. I'll sign up. What's an email? I have like 6 emails on my phone. I could probably. There was one that was made for werepigs, because I didn't know at the time how thorough Apple would be with authenticating stuff, and they ask you for a support email. So when I made werepigs, I made a werepigs email. Alright, so we sign up. I need to fix that account page. That's something. Let me write that down. Fix account page. Anyways, we can check our users. Oh no! Interesting, so it didn't create it. Didn't make the user stats. Why didn't it do that? Increment user count. We go to users, user stats, count, increment by 1. And we should be calling that in our update user data. Yeah. We get let's try something here. Let's, can I just print out snap? Okay. Let's see what this returns. Because one thought I'm having is I wonder if it's not actually awaiting for the snapshot to return. Okay, so let's get rid of this user. Delete them for the database. We'll also remove them from the authentication in Firebase. Delete that account. And let's head back in. Sign up. And official werepigs at Gmail. What an email, you know? I wish this one was Hotmail too. We'll sign up. There we go. So it does return an instance of a document snapshot, so it should be there. I guess I should be printing, does it exist? Because theoretically it shouldn't. Unless by getting a reference we're creating that. That reference location may or may not exist, can also be used to create a collection reference to a subcollection. Interesting. Used to read, write, listen to a location. Let's... Huh. Here, before we do anything else. Out of here, out of here. Let's go document reference. Let me go back to Google, come on. Using real-time updates. Get then docs. Yeah, so it's essentially the same thing, except they're using it then. And we can do that. Let's do that. We'll say ref get except we're going to do it a little differently. We won't want to do this like update data only if it exists, will not. We just want to check. If it exists, but in this case don't. Gonna also go in here. I'm gonna add this doc snapshot. Grab this. If it exists, get rid of this. All right, then print. Why does this not work? I don't know. Expected to find. It's because I'm not closing this out. Wait a minute. Wait. this up so I can read it a bit better. Where is this wrong? It's like if I take this out, then that's wrong. Interesting. Why can't I call that? Do I need to say that this is a function? Oh, really? Is that it? Interesting. Dart. Dart, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, well, I guess that's it. Alright, we'll delete this one more time. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I gotta pee, so we'll wrap this up. Alright, we'll sign up. Actually, let me do like a refresh of the console, just so it's all clear. Everybody hanging in? Yeah. Live stream is still up. Okay. Sign in. Oh, what is wrong there? I don't know what that is. We'll have to look into that. I think, oh, it's because I think that's just because I'm using the Google sign-in, but it recognizes this is not a valid IP. Or wait, there we go. So it doesn't, fails to connect. That's what that looks like. Oh, come on now. None of that. Sign up. It didn't print. Why didn't it print? Yeah, wait, why didn't it print? Right? Am I dumb? Didn't print. What's the database look like, huh? Yeah, it signed him up. Man, I thought I was onto something. Yeah, I was like, I don't know why putting it in a then is gonna change anything. That's just essentially, yeah, a callback for when it returns. Which I don't think is very much different from saying await and saving the value. Man, I don't know. I think maybe doing it like this is messing it up. I'll figure it out. I gotta go pee. Let's wrap up this stream. It's been a great time, everyone. Oh man, I love this background though. That's really good. I had too much fun setting up this stream. Thanks everybody for tuning in, checking it out. We'll probably try and do this again in a better way, a more fun and interesting way, hopefully. We'll see. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it. Hopefully this works out so I can edit this into the main video and it's not too bad. We'll see. I'll have to check this before I make it public, I guess. And maybe I'll just have this up for a rewatch if people want. I don't know. We'll see. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully be able to do some more live streams in the future. Yeah. Thanks. See you guys next time. Love you.